Hello, everyone. This is Alice, and I am I lead the Scrap Happy membership group. Oh my gosh, this is like the most awkward start. So, thank you so much for joining me today. We are here for a happy at home session, and I am so excited to be creating and playing and crafting. Gina is here. She says, "Hello, everyone." Well, thank you so much for joining me, Gina, and for everybody else that's here as well. I really enjoy these sessions because they allow me to get a little bit of creativity and craftiness out. We have had so many different topics, and this time I wanted to kind of take one back and review a little bit and kind of show how I'm taking this fun technique and bringing it into my scrapbooking, right? We did it kind of here, but now we're going to bring it over to the scrapbooking. So that is the plan for today. And that means we are going to be visiting the stamping foam. So I love this thing. I had the best time using the stamping foam. I'm bringing it back in a different way today. So I want to show you what I made first, and then I'm going to show you how I adapt this and bring this to my scrapbooks. So let's get all of the little pieces set up here. Okay, so the stamping foam is really fun. We actually visited this technique last week. This foam is one that you can heat with a heat tool, and then you can press it into different textured or semi 3D objects to get an impression, which you then ink and then stamp. So I have some examples of some that I made after the last session. So let me show you these. I'll just switch my camera view here. Okay, so here's my countertop, and I made some different examples. So I've got a feather that is from one of my actual chickens, and we've got, I did some different variations in the colors, like this. So I think if I'm setting these up, they'll look better like this. So here are the different ones that I did with the same block. So I stamped the foam into the feather one time, and then I was able to stamp multiple times using that foam. Now you can see that they're all a little bit different, right? Like you have different amounts of the colors here. Some of them are a little darker, some of them are a little bit lighter. And what I would like to do is turn these into a scrapbook background. Now, here's the catch. I want to make a grid style background, and this could look like a great grid style background, but this is not 12 by 12. Vicky says, I'm going to try it with a doubloon from St. Patrick's Day. That would be so cool. Be sure to show me, please, Vicky. Please do show me. So with this, these are not sized really well to make a 12 by 12 background. I can chop them, which is what I'm going to do right now. And then we're going to try something different with my foam block, and we're going to cross my fingers that I don't mess it up. But we'll do that after. We're going to attack this first. So this I think we can do. So my plan is to put these onto some white background paper, and I have some sheets of that right here. So I'll pull out a sheet of white background paper. My paper that I'm pulling is from Close to My Heart, which I think is what I stamped all of these onto. Yes, it's. So if I lined them up, you'll see they don't fit. I would have to chop a lot of them off. I don't really want to do that. So we're going to try to make these a little bit smaller so that they fit while still maintaining some of my rainbow. Do you think we can do it? I think we'll try. I think we'll try. So we're going to chop these down and cut them and make them fit into, fit into here. So I think this is gonna be, it's gonna be fun. That's what I'm gonna do, is trim these off. Now, this way I would have 4 inches, right? If I have 3 of them, I have 4 inches. Now, the actual stamp surface of this block is 4 1/4. So if I look at how much ink space there is, it's 4 1/4. Now, if I want to leave some white lines between them, I have to cut them down to under 4 1/4. But I really don't want to chop off the top of my feathers because I think that that would look bad. So I'm just going to show you how I'm going to adapt this to use it on my layout this time. And then what I could do, so there's a couple of options. Let's talk about the options. I could line them up and put them on here like this, right? And have part of this feather cut off and part of that feather cut off. I can cut them down a little bit smaller so they fit a little bit closer. Sideways, they fit great, right? Sideways, they fit fine. It's just the verticals that I have the problem. So I could cut them down so that they fit better. That is one option. The other option that I have is to make them a little bit smaller so that they're less rectangular, a little more square. So that's what I think I'd like to do. We'll see if I make the right choice as I cut these down. But that right now is the plan. So I'm actually going to cut off the space above the top of the feather, which is going to cut about 1/4 inch off. I'll just cut right to the top of the feather. Obviously that's bigger than 1/4 inch, but I'm talking about the actual stamped section. And then on the other side, I'm going to make this total is 4 1/4. So, but each one will give me a little bit of space between them. So that takes me right to the bottom of that. And I think with the amount of pink or whichever my top color was, that I will have enough of that rainbow effect still. I think I will. I think. And I'm just gonna trim off an extra little bit on either side, just so that they'll look a little bit more like background. So they're not perfectly squared, but I think those will fit quite nice in all of this. So that's the plan. We're going to trim them down. We're going to lay out the background so that they'll be ready for scrapbooking. So today I would like to know, did you order the stamping foam? Are you excited to play with it? Is this something that you're like, wow, that's cool, but I would never ever do it? Because all of those answers are totally legit. I'm just gonna stack these up here as I get them all trimmed down. You'll notice I'm leaving the white edges. I could cut them off, but I think as I lay them down, it's not really, I don't think it's gonna matter. Will it matter? Will I want those removed? Maybe I would want them removed. Okay, we'll change my plan. We're gonna cut them right off on the sides. I think it might look a little bit cleaner if I cut them off. So we'll do that. Okay. So Gina says, yes, I did. She bought the stamping foam. So I'd love to know, what are you excited to press into your stamping foam? Is there something that you would like? So even if you didn't order them, is there something that you would like to press with a stamping foam if you had that available to you? What would you press into the stamping foam? What would you press? Vicky had said that she was going to try it with a St. Patrick's Day doubloon, which is super cool. And we saw that I had pressed multiple things from a feather, obviously. I had also pressed a metal die, which turned out so beautiful. Donna says, I couldn't find them on any websites. know how it is when they come out with something nice and something fun. Now they run out everywhere. Jackie says, I don't think I would use it, so it's not on my shopping list yet. That is 100% fair to say. So it comes down to a matter of, you know, is this the kind of fun technique that you enjoy? If not, then of course don't buy it. Don't buy it. Sharon said, no, I'm not going to try it. I don't need another thing. I totally understand that, let me tell you. So we got a lot of trimming. You know, in some cases I could have lined them up, but because they're all stamped roughly in the middle of the sheet, this is not a case where I can line these up and do a good job trimming them up. So we're just going to trim them and line them up, tile them up on the page, and then we're going to try something else that's kind of fun. So that is the plan. So this weekend is International Scrapbooking Day. Gina says Amazon has them in sizes, so that might be a place to check out. Is it the same brand? Is it the Simon Hurley one that you found, Gina? Or is it a different brand? This one is the one from Simon Hurley Create. It is the stamping foam from Simon Hurley Create. That's the one that I was using. So almost done this trimming. There was a fair bit here, cutting all the sides. I'm actually kind of impressed at how straight I stamped these because I thought they would be a lot more crooked. So I'm like actually kind of impressed at this moment. And yeah, it took me a few minutes to get all of these stamped out. I did do different color alterations on them so that I stamped them in different colors. These would have all made beautiful card fronts. And actually I did do a test one with a slightly different color variation. I didn't like it as much. So after that one, I said, oh, I'll just turn this one into a card front. And then I changed the colors for the next one. So that kind of was a good opportunity as well. So 3/4. And then this is the final one. We almost made it. Almost made it. If this wasn't straight on the side, I would line up my trimmer until it was straight on one side and then cut around from there. So she said some of them were round. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Something of my daughter's when she was a baby is what Gina would do with these. Something of her daughter's when she was a baby. That would be super sweet. Yeah, like some of the little crocheted or knitted little garments would be totally adorable to use that as an effect for one of the pages. My son had a little outfit from Jonas's grandmother that she had made. And actually, I didn't even know that she did that kind of stuff. So when we got it, I was like pretty excited that she had made it. Okay, so that is this. And then I will lay these out on here, and I have to kind of decide if there's like a certain order that I'm going to do, if I'm going to like make them all randomy or what. So this, honestly, I could have almost fit an extra one in here. Look at that. I totally could now that I've trimmed them up. Now I'm wishing I stamped more. And I did not. How cute would that have been with more? Now that I'm seeing this, I'm like, I didn't make enough of them. But that just means I'm going to have to leave more space between them. And we'll play them out here. I think what I'll find myself doing is I'll run something else down the side. So I'm going to set my grid up off to the side. and I'll plan to run something else down that side, because otherwise I think it's going to feel a little awkward. So, yay. So, perfect. Let's arrange those out. I don't want to necessarily have the same colors beside each other, but I don't want to have it all like too stylized, I guess. Yellow and blue one, and let's see, yellow and a blue and a pink one. Does that look good? I think that looks okay. So I'm going to lay those out on here. And I really had debated on whether I wanted to pop them up. Jackie says, I was thinking you could make impressions of medals or insignia from military or Boy or Girl Scouts. That is a great idea. Gina says, my sister had a birthday hat for her first birthday. Oh my gosh. Like all of the fun things that we can do, right? So yeah, if I plan to leave a little border here, I think that's going to make a brilliant grid. So that just needs to be stuck down. I might stick down a couple of these and then we'll see. We'll go from here. What do you think? I think that'll be good. So I've got them roughly laid out. I've got kind of somewhat even spacing and margins between the different pieces. I'll have enough room for a good border along the side. So I think that'll be great. And I'll do tops and bottoms, and then I'll do a little split piece for the sides. So, yeah, and I think that the different things that we can press into those, into the blocks, it really gives us a lot of opportunity. One of our attendees last week when we were making this series, she was talking about the different things that she's done with her heritage pages. She said it's been the best with her heritage pages. That's where she has used foam like this the most, right? Is with a heritage page. So there, we get an idea of what this could look like once it's all set out. And then just to scrapbook on top of that. Like, what if I did a nice title down the side? Oh, that would look good. Title there. Some of this will get layered with my photo. Probably a chicken photo, I'm just gonna say. You know, I've got my chicken feather on here from one of my chickens. So a chicken photo would be perfect. Yeah, but just having the different textures, kind of fun. For me, it's a matter of choosing something that's going to give that page extra relevance, which is why the idea of using some kind of memorabilia is so perfect. And some of that stuff is so hard because we want to include it, but it can be hard to include on our layouts. So that can be a fun one. So let's go and ask the question, what is the chunkiest or strangest thing that you've put onto a scrapbook page before? So I'd like to hear about that. I actually have a page that has rocks on it and some almost like a mesh kind of natural fiber from a coconut palm tree. So that was one of the more strange items that I've put onto a page. Generally, I don't like my pages to be too chunky, but sometimes I can't help it. Some stuff is just chunky and it's lovely, and so it just has to be the way it is. So let's line this one up. Looks good. But you can see what a fun background this is making. Oh my gosh. And if I popped some of them up on texture, like on like pop foam, that would be cute too, right? So they don't all have to be just flat. I could have some that are popped up. Fun. I don't know exactly where I want to put my photo, but the idea of popping some of these up is very enticing. It'd be more enticing if I could find my foam tape. Okay, so foam tape is MIA on this desk again, so we will not pop any up this time. Sharon says, I once put a woven ribbon necklace that I made on a cruise on a layout. And Deidre says that she has a piece of sugarcane and a big leaf from Hawaii on one of her pages. Deidre's really good about putting cool stuff on her pages, I will say. Some of the little found objects that she uses. Gina's laughing at my rocks. Seriously. I have a page with rocks. And, you know, it's so bad. I was like one of those kids that was like, ooh, this is a nice rock. Vicky says she's put a flower on her page. Yes. The one year in our Scrap Happy at one of our reunions, we had an exchange where we were supposed to bring something that represented where we were from. And I brought everybody a pressed flower. I'm like, oh, I don't even know if I should have done that. Like, I was crossing borders with pressed plants. Is that okay? I don't even know. So maybe don't report me to immigration or borders or whatever they call that. Border security. I'd be like one of those people that they're stopping or putting on that TV show. Ma'am, why do you think you can bring this into the country? I did some pressed flowers. They are the Alberta rose, so it's a wild rose that grows here. It is a pink color. Sometimes they're really pale pink, and sometimes they are more of a dark pink. They just have different variations within them, and they are the nicest smelling flower. Like, I love the smell of lilacs. I'm all about the lilac. I think lilacs are amazing, but my very favorite scent is the smell of the wild roses here in Alberta. And you find them growing along the ditches, along some highways in places, definitely in rural areas. We have them out in our yard. I had collected them all out in my yard and pressed them. So that was kind of a cool thing. Okay, let's try to line this up. This is where I should have had that T-square. Should have got myself one of those T-squares. Yeah, but I think putting some of those fun things can really make for a fun project. And if you're not keen on having the actual chunky item, then using this foam to represent that chunky item could be a really great workaround, right? Or if it's an original item that you can't put in, like, you know, grandma's tablecloth or something, you know, you can take an impression of it without ruining it. So yeah, we've made this background, and then we're gonna try something a little bit different. I'm hoping I don't mess this up, because, you know, but if I do, I guess I'll know, and then you'll know better too. And be like, don't do what Alice did. Oh, I didn't cut this one down at the top. Look at that. I didn't cut this one down at the top. I've already applied my adhesive. So that's not gonna work. Like, this one's way longer. I told you. Sorry, I didn't even see. It's like, Alice, you missed one. Yeah, the fun stuff, right? Putting all the fun stuff onto our pages. You know, definitely I've seen sand. That's been a really fun memorabilia kind of item that I've seen on people put on pages. Coins. I'll tell you, like I've always been fascinated by coins because my dad was from Wales, and so we always had a little bit of the money from Britain around the house, right? Just like leftover stuff from when my dad or one of us would make a trip over. I had the opportunity to do a trip when I was 11 years old. I went for 3 weeks over to Wales to spend time with my aunts and my grandmother. And so my dad has 3 sisters and a brother that live over in Wales, and they all took turns taking me around to see things and do things. And they learned quickly that I was way into castles, like way into castles. And one of the things that they did then was take me around to castles. Wales, you can see some castles, let me tell you. That is not a hard thing. And so got to see tons of castles. My one aunt actually took me to London for a week, and she has my cousin, he's like 2 years younger than me. So we had such a fun time in London, and just seeing all the sights, and I have lots of happy memories from that trip. It was so fun and so just fascinating. The coins that you put in a machine and flatten with a design. Oh, Donna, yes. Yes. I love that. I literally have a page that talks about how much I love a coin press machine. Like, love them. Yeah. That was San Diego. Deetra, you were with me for that one. But I turned that into a page because I'm like, somebody please take my picture squishing my penny. I'm so excited. Yep. Amy says, I have not done this, but I know someone who scrapbooked their pregnancy test. Like the actual stick. That was a page turn that always surprised people. No kidding. How do you I'm just laughing so hard. I can't imagine putting my pee stick into my scrap. Like, I've done some weird things, yeah, granted, but I haven't put a pee stick on a scrapbook page. Like, that's so fun. Okay, and here's the stick with my pee. Crack me up. Yeah, Deetra said she was there. She was there for the coin machine. Yeah. Okay, so that is the background. I'm gonna plan to put my title along here. Yeah, Sharon says she wins. Hands down. Like, yeah, that's like more like a hands off. So there we go. So here is my fun background paper that I did with this technique. Oh my gosh. Like, that is so cute, right? Okay. Now we're going to try something else. Did I show you guys? I forgot to show you. Last Friday, in case you missed Friday, I had a special guest on here. It was Sarah Scraps. And we did a stamping and dripping technique. So fun. This was my background paper that I made. So we stamped the flowers with the Distress Oxide ink, and then we pulled some of the color from the stamped flowers and pulled it down. We did add a little extra, so we kind of like mini cheated, I guess, a little bit, and we pulled some extra color down to make them bleed. Now, I will tell you, or drip, not bleed. I know, like bleeding flowers. It's terrible image, Alice. So to make them drip, but I will tell you, like, to get these to drip, like you can like tap it down and stuff to try to convince it to go. But I'll tell you, cheating was way easier. So just taking that paintbrush a little bit and kind of convincing it to go and then dripping it down seemed to work really well. We used watercolor paper. I'm really happy with the effect because you can see some of the way the colors bled. Like I definitely crossed over, like I overlapped some of my flowers to make them fit because they were a larger flower. But it just turned out so pretty. In the end, Sarah and I, like, our pages, you could tell we were using the same technique, but it was really different. Her flowers were a little bit smaller, so she was able to kind of space them without overlapping her flowers. And then at the end, she took some of those flowers and stamped them in with some black, and it was so pretty, but I was just too scared to. I'm like, no, I'm gonna ruin it. But I think with my bigger flowers, this was a good choice. And I just love the way this turned out. And the ink blending, adding that little touch of extra color so that they would drip down the page. And just the way the colors bled together in the crossovers. This is like the prettiest in here. I'll tell you a little secret. I did go back in at the end and I stamped over this yellow one and the pink one. You can actually see I didn't line it up very straight. So like that's like real life here. Not lined up perfectly straight, but it's almost. But it looks better because I put so much water on the pink one and the yellow one that I lost a little bit of that because I was learning kind of as I went across the page. But that turned out really well by just going in and stamping to add a little bit of that crispness back to it. So that was on Friday. So if you missed that, go and check that out from Friday's class. Amy said, I couldn't believe that she put her pregnancy test on there. She's like, I can't believe it. Press pennies are a great idea. My daughter collects them during Disney trips. I would so love to go around and do like all the press pennies in the park, right? Like I just never have enough time to do all the fun things that I love. Marcia says, I think I would settle for a picture of the test. Me too. Like this is one case I'm like, a picture will be fine. Jackie said, that's gorgeous. I thought it would be way more faded with the watercolor. Yeah, like it's quite colorful. Like these were really soft, right? Like that's when, like with the pink ones, I really saw I was going to need to add a little bit of the extra color. So we just smushed the ink pad with the Distress Oxide on the top. And then as I added like the little drips along the bottom edges of the flowers, yeah, I'm just so happy. That was brilliant. So shout out to Sarah Scraps. If you don't follow her here on YouTube, go and follow her. You'll be so happy. She is so good about using stamps. She does other stuff too, but her stamping on layouts is like on par. So always so impressed. This is beautiful. This is so beautiful. You can tell, like, what color palette is Alice enjoying playing with right now? I know. This is my palette. And it's funny. This was Distress Oxides, and this was my Concorda 9th. So, you know, I don't even know if I could do a picture. I still have my test, but I'm not putting on. I don't have my test. I think pretty sure my husband actually made me throw that out. I'm so bad though. I wanted to save my kid's belly button stump. And he's like, no, Alice, you can't save that. I'm like, what? Why? Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. Wish me luck for this. Because I might need it. Let's find, is it here? Oh, please be here. Because otherwise this isn't gonna work very good. Shoot. Oh no, there it is. It's there. It's there. It's fine. We're all good. Okay. That's not the one. Shoot, it looks exactly like that. It's all gray like that. That's hilarious. I need my X-Acto blade. That's what I want right now. My happy scalpel that I pull out and use all the time. It is not that one. That was like a, I don't even know. Oh, there it is. See, it's gray too. Okay, so I got my X-Acto knife. I've got my cutting mat. I've got a ruler here that has a metal edge, and I have a stamp foam that I haven't actually used yet because Deidre sent me 2 of these. Gail says Sarah Scraps was so awesome. I know, it was so fun. and I just had the best time dripping. It actually really reminded me of Misty's watercolor class from the Scrap Smarter experience. Oh my gosh, so good. My husband has saved all of her baby teeth, even went out and bought a small 6x6 scrapbook made for teeth. It's so fun. I think I have a couple. And actually, my mom saved a couple of my teeth, but then my kids' teeth got mixed in, so I don't even know. It's like we're related, I guess. Like they're all in there. Here's our teeth. Like, how crazy is that, right? I don't know, but it's funny. It makes me laugh, so whatever. Okay, I'm going to make this into a square because I think that for scrapbooking, having a square piece would be better than having a rectangular piece. So we're going to cut this. We're going to cross my fingers that it actually works. So first things first, we'll take a good measurement, and sideways it is exactly 3 inches, like exactly. They weren't kidding. When they said 3 by 4 1/4, they're not kidding. It's actually 3. So I see a great measurement on there. So now I'm going to put a marking on here. Actually, I'm going to do it from this side. I'll just line that side up, and I'm going to put a marking on there at 3, and then I'm going to put another marking on here also at 3, and I'm going to draw a straight line across. Then I'm going to line my ruler up, and we're going to go through with my cutting blade. I'm thinking this should work, right? Y'all weigh in and let me know if you think Alice is going to have success with this, or if this is going to be a little bit of a mess. It could go either way. So I'm just marking it with a Sharpie. And then I'm going to put this along this side here. And with this, because it has like little grid lines, you can line the little grid lines up perfectly with the sides to help make things nice and square, even without having a T-ruler that I don't have yet. So I'm going to draw this across. And now comes the fun part. Now comes the fun part. I'm going to cut this with my blade. Now, my blade is barely tall enough, right? Like, I don't think I'm definitely not gonna make it in one pass. But I'm gonna start it, and then I think that cut through really good. That cut through really good. I'm a little... Should we see how well it went? Pretty good. I'm actually really impressed right now at how nicely that sliced. So, can I get back into that same slice and cut it the rest of the way? Okay. Did I get all... Oh, I didn't get all the way yet. I don't know if it's going to go all the way. I don't know if it's going to be straight when it gets through the other side either. Maybe I'll see if I can measure in from this side. Am I just creating myself a bigger problem? Potentially. Daniela says, Sharon says, I've never gotten along with X-Acto knives. I've always loved using my X-Acto knife. It makes me feel like, you know, really important or something, I think. It's like, ooh, doctors use those. And so do I. Yes, I know there's our scalpels. It's a little different, but, you know. We go with it. We go with it. Okay, so let's line this up. I'm going to draw the line here on this other side, and I'm going to see. Do you think it'll line up straight? A good question. I think this went really well. So here's the edge. It's like a little imperfect, right? Because I couldn't make one perfect cut all the way through. It just wasn't big enough. If I would have had like one of those, what do you call it? The ones that the guys use in when they're doing like their shop stuff, you know, the ones with have the slide out blades. I think if I would have had one of those, I could make the blade a little stronger, like a little longer. It would have gone straight through. That cut like so nice though. So now I've got this little baby one. I don't know if I'll ever actually use that, but now I have this square one. I'm going to like clean up this one little spot here with my scissors, just because I don't want that to like messing up. But this looks pretty darn great. Pretty darn great. Now I have a square block. Look at that. And I'm sure, like, if these become popular, they'll probably make them in square blocks. But a package of 4 of them was about $5-ish, right? So it wasn't too bad. Even better when your friend buys them to you and ships them to you, right? I'm gonna grab this. Hello, there's the back of my head. Way too many little silver highlights up there. I'm sure that you saw them all, but way too many of those. Okay, so now I have a square piece. The baby one would be nice for the lace that you tried last week. There you go. That would be perfect for doing something like that. Something thin that just needed to go along. She's thinking. Daniela says, I have little rocks from the first mountain I climbed with my daughter on my back. Still waiting for the right layout or mini album idea. Oh my gosh. And like doing those on the front of a mini album. So cool. One of the things I did this month was I used some Pam Bray Designs embossing rock candy powder. So this is what it was. It is from Emerald Creek Crafts. But this stuff has little rocks in it too. So I made 2 pieces, but you can see how the rocks almost are like mounted in like, I don't know, like it looks like score treacle or something like that. It looks like a score bar kind of stuff. Oh, yummy. Now I want score bar so bad. And then I used that Nuvo expanding mousse here. And then this part I didn't heat. So it's still metallic-y. This part has texture. This part has the rocks with the embossing powder holding everything in place. It is so cool. Seriously. I haven't turned it into a layout yet. I'm going to do my scrapbooking in May with the load challenge. Our Golden Girls inspired load challenge. Load 521 called Live Golden. Registration is now open. Go to Scrap Happy. Look for load. It is going to be a fun month. Oh, and use, let's see. Use the code email. Is it email 15? Oh dear. Podcast. Podcast 15 works. So definitely podcast 15. I think there was one in my email as well, but I don't remember. So there we go. So here we go. So now I have this little square one. I want to be able to put this right onto my background paper and just stamp a whole paper. That's kind of the ultimate goal, right? So I think we should do that. So I think we should do that. Now, it's 3 by 3. If I do 3 inches by 3 inches, they're going to be really close together and I can do 4 of them, right? Do you think I can get them perfectly lined up? Good question. But I think that everything worth doing is worth trying, right? If it works out bad, you know, I can cut it down and make it into card fronts or something. Just might not make it onto a scrapbook page, and that's okay. But I need something fun to put into the backgrounds. I have, I have my feathers. I should have grabbed something else that has cool texture. I just went to the mountains. Using rocks would have been great for this, right? A little rocky texture. We just drove through the mountains, I should say. We didn't have to go to the mountains. We drove through the mountains. But I wonder if I could press into this and get some of this texture and some of this texture. Should I try that? Let's try some of that. So now I can like reuse my cool mixed media. And I'll get some of that rocky texture and some of the embossed texture. This is what we're gonna do. I don't know if that's gonna make a good repeating pattern though. I'm a little concerned about that. Maybe we'll just go across the bottom and we'll have a look and see what we think. If I need to do something else, maybe I should have a test strip and see if I like the look of it before I go in on my full paper. Okay, so this feels like it might be heated enough. I'm gonna press that down on here. Hello, hello, better late than never. How is everyone? Says Sophia. Welcome, glad you made it. We are playing a little bit in a different way with that Simon Hurley stamp foam. So I've got some interesting texture on here. I'm not sure that I love it or not. I guess, why don't we stamp it as a test and see if it looks cool. It might not make a good repeating pattern. That's my thought. Now that I've decided to stamp on here. Here. Need a piece. Okay. So we'll test this out. Let's try a little bit of peacock and eggplant. I think that would be nice. Right. I'll try some of these colors. And so I have my peacock ink. I'll ink up the top part with this one, and then I'm gonna add the eggplant down at the bottom. Yeah, that didn't stick very good. Let's try that again. And we'll kind of go into the little blending area. Is that coming off again? Okay, now I need to take a little bit of mist. I pulled out this little fine mist sprayer. One thing that I do have this time. Now I'm going to try to place it right in the corner to see how well I can line up something in the corner. So that's interesting, but it's not really that cool. I'm going to say, like, it's like an interesting design, but it's not really that cool. Just doesn't really have that wow factor that I would like for something like this, right? So somewhat disappointing results, but it worked good. So it really does matter what you're going to press into it as to how cool that is. But somebody talked about money and medals. I know I have one of those here. So let's try one of those, and we'll see how that looks instead. So I've cleaned this off. And I'm going to actually bring some of the color, bring the design back out of it. So we tested that one. It was like, meh. Oh, before I heat that, I guess I can lay out these coins. So these coins are from the Bahamas. My son and I did a scuba diving trip, and I really like that their coins have really interesting things on them. So I've got different shapes. The pennies, the 1 cent, actually have like a little starfish on them. Oh, you can see how cracked my fingers are. The 5 cent have a pineapple on them. The 10 cent have a fish of some kind of fish. But look at the cool shape of those. Isn't that fun? And then the 25 cent have some palm trees and a sailboat. And then I have whatever this big coin is. Some kind of medallion. I don't even know if this is from there, actually. That's a good question. Is this even from there? Chateau de Fougères. Oh no, I think that was from France. So maybe that's from somewhere else. So, good thing I looked. Oh, see, even the back of these is interesting. So maybe I'll do fronts and backs of each of these coins and just kind of lay them out in a way that I can cover them up. So let's see, something like that. Don't want to make it too not cool, right? I don't have another one of those little shapy ones. So. Is that big enough? I think what I'll do is just lay out all of the coins here, and that way I can have a full background as I stamp this onto here, right? There, put them all together, make a cool background with that. Yeah, I think that's fun. Okay, so coins, we'll keep this out. So Sophia says, hello, better late than never. Yes, you made it. We're gonna play with this a little bit more. I've cut this block into a square so that we can explore using it in a different style. I'd like to create a fun background. Now, these coins could be a pretty fun background, right? But I'd still like to kind of create a tiled background. So. Okay, wish me luck. I don't know if I'm pressing too hard or not hard enough. I don't know if I heated enough. Okay, so it seems like I've got a good impression on it. Now I guess we'll ink it and test it, and then we'll know how good the impression is. I have some of the bills here as well from, why is this one not sticking? It doesn't have the thing. It's defective. It doesn't have the little bit of, oh, I'm gonna pull that one apart. Okay, little bit of spritz. And let's check out the coins. Ooh, got a little too much spritz on that one, I think. But if I had a little less spritz, would it work better? Maybe. I'm gonna just try this one with the leftover bit because it was a little more wet. Ha, that's better. It's a little more dry. And you can actually see some of the imprints from the coins. Yeah, so this one here, a little too mucky, right? So this was a little bit moist. I hate that word, sorry. It was a little bit damp. It's like something moderately better. And then, so let me try that. Yeah, so that's a little better too. Like those last two are good, right? So I think I'd like to make a background like this. I think that would be fun. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna play with another color. I'd like to bring, so the color of the money in the Bahamas is really green, right? It has green and peach a little bit in there. There's technically no purple, but I've definitely got greens and peaches. I don't have to make it the same color as their other money, but you know, I just have some random stuff left over at the end of the trip. You could pay in US dollars, which is what I took with me on the trip. But then when you got changed back, it was always in Bahama dollars, Bahamian dollars. And yeah, so that was kind of interesting how they work that. But I like how these ones turned out. So I think I'm going to try to attempt them like that. But I think I should bring a little bit of green into the mix. So Maybe some sprout. Oh, this one is not working. That might be a hard sell. Okay, I'm gonna take the purple out. Sorry, Amy. I'm gonna take the purple out. We're gonna mix the green and the blue. Throw that up here. Put this on here. And I don't know if I want that dark of the blue. Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be good. Okay, so we've got that. This one's just broken. It's missing the Velcro part. So I'll have to do something about that later. It is what it is. Okay, we can move the money, clean this off properly, and then we'll start again. Did y'all see? I have like actual paper towel this time. So that's a good thing. Last time I couldn't find my paper towel. And it literally wasn't in here. Like I couldn't find it. I still haven't like come across it. So maybe I had finished a roll or something. I don't know, but it was just kind of funny. Poor purple, always getting kicked out. I know. I know. Feeling so bad for the purple. But I think this green and blue will be so nice. It's gonna be awesome. Okay. Now I've got my full-on sheet of paper here. We're gonna start doing this onto my full background sheet. Kind of wondering if I shouldn't use some thicker paper, just so it holds up a little bit better to the amount of water that'll end up spraying and misting and stuff onto it. So I think I'm gonna try this backwards. This seemed to be working. I'm gonna mist it a little, and then I'm gonna mix my colors onto it. So I'm gonna put the green just in the middle, and then I'm gonna take my blue and just smoosh it around the outside. So I kind of leave like a little area in the center. I'm not sure if I like it or not, but I guess we're gonna find out, because I'm sticking it right onto my paper. I'm gonna tile it in like that. Wish me luck, wish me luck. Now we see. This is lovely. This is lovely. And I think that little round effect in the middle, like it'll be a little different on all of them, but check it out. And you can see some of the different little characters from the money. How fun is this? Okay, that's good. Off to a great start. Off to a great start. Okay. I think what I'll do is just I'll have a damp paper towel, and I'll just try to blot off some of the excess ink, and hopefully this won't muck up my stuff too much. Okay, so I'm gonna mist it a little, add some green, and then go in with my blue around the sides. So it could be a little softer in the middle, right? Like maybe a little softer with that green. I don't know. I don't know how to do that. But we're gonna go in and line it up. Okay. This is gonna be so fun. Now, if I was like way on my game, I could line this up so that all of my coins lined up. So I've got half of some of them sticking up. I'm so not that organized, but I think this is still gonna be super fun. So I am good with this. But yeah, this is looking cool. So kind of just rinse it off so that I can put my green on here without it being destroyed. A little bit of mist. A little bit of color, a little bit of this color coming around the outside to play, and bringing it back in. Now, how fun is this for a page about going to the Bahamas? Seriously, I'm feeling like a genius right here, right now. This is awesome. Look at how fun that is. And you can see like the little fish in the 10 cents. You can actually see the little flamingo that's in the back of one of the coins. You can see the little pineapple. You can see the little starfish. Like, you're getting pretty good impressions from these colors. Like, it's definitely turning out good. Yeah. Now, if you were like, Alice, I'm never going to use one of those blocks to make a background like this, what are other things that you can do in a similar style? Let's talk about that for a second. So if you weren't making a background of this sort, you could stamp, just like get different stamps and stamp backgrounds, right? With pennies and coins like this, you can do like shade impressions if you wanted to do different coin impressions. Oh, this is so pretty. I'm just like, I'm obsessed. And they're all going to have like a little bit of variation because of the different amount of inks. Oh, yeah, this is like turning out gorgeous. And yeah, like you definitely have a little bit of the green centers, but I think it's good. I think this is coming together nice. Let's bring that. Smoosh this around. And lining up, kind of lining up the bottom edge and then making sure that my side edge is matching. So far, that seems to be working pretty good. But we can't get the blocks, says Donna. We can't get the blocks. So not yet for this. They're going to be available. They're going to be available. But other fun things with coins is you can do the shading kind of technique, right? Where you put your coins underneath paper and like shade with the side of a pencil or a colored crayon or something. Like that's another fun way you could get like a coin effect. I'm not sure about this, but like, could you stamp with a coin? Should we test that for a second? So I have an idea of like stamping with it. I'm gonna take just a little bit of like foam tape here for a second. And I'm gonna take this block that's a little bit broken right now. And I'm going to see if I can stamp with this. This is the sailboat one. So I'm gonna use a little foam tape. So where's my tester paper? Here's my tester paper. Alice is playing now. Alice is playing now. So I've inked up my coin and I want to see if I can get a fun impression. It totally didn't go through the background. Okay, so a little bit of foam. Let's take foam from one of my Close to My Heart sets and see if I can't give it a little more backing. Okay, let me ink this again and go in and see if I can get almost, it's like not quite, it's not as good, but it's definitely a little bit. So there's something to try, right? Tough because like it's not like on that metal, you're not really, it's not made for picking up that color. Yeah, it's not doing very good. I'll confess, it's not going as good as I hoped it would. But you know, I tested it, now you don't have to. Right? I tested it, now you don't have to. Be like, oh, maybe that would work. Be like, maybe not. Yeah, the blocks will be back. The blocks will be back. If you wanted to play with something like this. And line it up. What a fun background paper. And see, this one I had more water on. You can see like it has more gaps in the press. But It's okay. A little too much mist, I guess. Of course, like you could totally change your color variations on this. So maybe you'd want to like change the color as it go. Danielle says this looks amazing and I love those colors. Thank you. I think playing, right? It all comes down to playing. Okay, well, I am gonna keep doing this. If you're still hanging with me, then thank you. If you have checked out what we're doing today, I will be sure to show off the finished product tomorrow. But I just wanted to remind you that you can find me on Instagram at Alice Bowl. And you can also connect with me here on YouTube. I do read my comments and I respond to my comments here on YouTube. So if you're catching the replay, your comment will be heard. I will respond. And then we have a load challenge coming up. It starts May 1st, but actually the first prompt goes out the night before. So it is starting this weekend. Ooh, see, that turned out so good. And we are scrapbooking, all inspired by the Golden Girls. If you are a Scrap Happy member, you have instant access to this event. If you're not a Scrap Happy member, then please come and check us out. It is at scraphappy.org/load. You can save $15 using the code podcast15 and join us for a month of scrapbooking. And every day we have 2 prompts. One is a story prompt, the other is a technique prompt, and they help us dig into our own stories just inspired by the Golden Girls. So whether you were a Golden Girls fan or not, it's not really about that. Like, it is, that's our inspiration, but it's not about scrapbooking about the Golden Girls. Like, I don't have any stories to scrapbook about the Golden Girls. But we can guarantee there will be themes of friendship, themes inspired by Sophia, themes inspired by each of the characters, actually. And it'll be a lot of fun. It's just a really fun way to approach telling your own stories. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So right now, what I'd love to know from you is, did you watch the Golden Girls? And if you did, who is your favorite character? Who is your favorite character? Do you have a favorite Golden Girl? Who is your favorite Golden Girl? And if you've never watched the Golden Girls, are you excited? Are you like interested? It is about women. It is about friendships, and it features 4 women that are friends, and they are all like seniors. And they're so funny. Like, the episodes are just so funny, but also packed with a lot of real meaning. And it really explores friendships. It explores loss. It explores sexuality. It explores so many things. I have absolutely loved diving into a lot of the themes for it. So Amy says, yes, I watch. Rose is my favorite, followed closely by Sophia. So I'm curious, does anybody have Dorothy as their favorite? Because, you know, she's a little brusque. She can be a little hard to love. So I'm like, is anybody like, oh my gosh, Dorothy was absolutely the best. I want to hear it. Sophia, so funny. Like, whatever was in her mind came out of her mouth. And like, what a fun character. Throughout the month, we'll explore different fun trivia kind of about the Golden Girls as well, about the show, about the different characters. Picture it, Sicily, 1953. Exactly. You know there's a prompt about that. So I have had a lot of fun putting these together, and you know there is a prompt about that. So that will happen. That is happening. Let's just be real. That is happening. But yeah, it should be fun to just look at the way it inspires our stories. I've heard good things back from our load featured designers. So in addition to the 2 prompts, we actually have 2 prompts every day. There is a story-based prompt and there is a technique-based prompt. So one of the prompts is there to help inspire your storytelling, and one is there to help inspire you to explore different things from your scrappy stash, or different styles, different techniques. And so maybe different colors. Like, there can be a lot of really fun things that come into our techniques. Sharon says, thank you, Alice. Bye. She has to go. I know we totally ran over because, you know, I get distracted as we do these, and it becomes a little bit of a fun adventure when I'm creating. I don't want to finish until I'm done this, so I'm like, I'll either finish off camera or on, so I guess I'll do it on. Alice, I know you heard that in Sophia's voice. Absolutely I did. So and bring that. So I can see here that I don't have it perfectly lined up. There's going to be a little bit. So what I'll probably do at the end of this is just trim that little outside edge off and put it onto a solid background, and that'll be extra beautiful. So there's always a way to work with like the little inconsistencies when you're creating something like this, right? Picture it, Cicely. So yeah, it's we've got decor inspiration. We have inspiration from the lanai. We have inspiration about each of the characters. We have inspiration from the lives of each of the actresses as well. So we don't just explore their characters. We dive one day into each of the actual actresses. We have a lot of fun ways to kind of explore it, and the whole goal is to tell our own stories. So, and of course, with a load challenge, you don't actually have to do the load challenge using the prompts. You can always just choose to kind of do your own thing and scrapbook your own project. Just use load as an accountability. But is there cheesecake? Honey, you know there's cheesecake. You know there's gonna be cheesecake. Absolutely. Can you have Golden Girls without cheesecake? I will tell you, one of the things that I found out is that Dorothy B. Arthur did not actually like cheesecake. And apparently they consumed more than 100 cheesecakes during their filming. So can you imagine sitting there being like, cheesecake? If you don't actually like cheesecake. Now, here's the confession. I also don't like cheesecake. Never liked it. Never liked it. Okay, this... And of course, the last one is extra faint, but whatever. It is done. This looks beautiful. Here, you can't even see the last one. See? The last one ended up extra faint. But this is done. This is beautiful. This is so cool. Like, this is like one of the funnest backgrounds that I think I've ever made. This is such a neat thing. So here is my money, Bahamian money inspired background paper that I made with the Simon Hurley Create stamping foam. So, well, back in St. Olaf, there was a cheesecake shortage. Yeah, trust me, we bring back all the things. So it should be a lot of fun. Should be a good month. Very playful. Okay, this is always so pretty. Watching the ink run off of here. I always love that too. Okay, wash it off. Need to clean it off. And now when you're done using your Stampin' Foam like this, he always recommends that when you're done your creativity for the day is that you heat the design back out to make it flat again so that you're ready for next time. And that way it won't kind of set in there like semi-permanently or you get any kind of like weird texture left behind. So I'm going to just let that dry for a second and then I'll be able to heat that one up. So cool looking. I know, I'm just like super pumped with how well that turned out. Cutting this to make it a custom size turned out awesome. If I was doing a different design, I would maybe even cut an extra 1/4 inch off of this to turn it into a 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, or just so I could leave white spaces between. Another option would be to be starting off of the edge by a little bit so that I'm not ending up in, so I'm not necessarily starting and ending in the corner like this, but you can kind of start off of the pattern. So you're starting your pattern off and you'll kind of overlap all the edges. That would have taken a lot more steps for me to stamp. So realistically, I didn't want to do that here on camera. I'm like, well, then I'll never get done. But that would just be another way of approaching this background idea. But shout out to Deidre, who sent me these stamping foams. I've had such a good time with them. I will now take the foam and heat the design out so that it's ready for next time. And I will have this ready to go when I'm scrapbooking this month. Bahamas, I know it's not Miami, but I definitely have some Bahamas stuff to scrapbook. And now I can use inspiration from the Bahamian money as well. So super fun. Okay, well, thank you, Alice. You are so welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is always such a delight. It's so much fun to create. I will be back tomorrow at the same time, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. We will be having a totally different topic tomorrow. And I just wanted to say, if you are shopping for supplies on scrapbook.com, then this is my link, my affiliate link for scrapbook.com. It's also listed in the description of all of these videos, so you can click straight through from there. If you happen to be shopping there, I appreciate it so much. It just makes this little bit of a difference, and yeah, it's just a really thoughtful thing. And just send out my big old thank you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being part of this event. We'll be finishing this off this Friday. Can you believe that this month is already coming to an end? But it has just been so much fun to explore and play. And then in May, I'm diving into all of that scrapbooking. So if you're interested in checking out the Load Challenge, that is happening starting May 1st. And it's all inspired by the Golden Girls. It is our Load 521 Live Golden Challenge. That is it right there. And I drew those. So not the palm leaves, but I drew those heads. So judge as you will. So bye everyone. Have a great day or evening or morning. And if you're catching the replay, thank you so much. Okay. Bye everyone.